Oh, man, that would be one of the classic kids say the darndest thing.
Oh,
Like, what in the world?
Oh, man.
You know, you never know what they're gonna do.
I figured either him or Blake called his baseball coach.
No, it was Trent Elliott, and it was football.
No, they just announced it today. He's the new coach.
Mrs. Hackman, before I open the meeting, schools are not on the budget tonight, on the agenda.
Okay, that wasn't listed on the paperwork, so it just said budget.
He's coming on June 17th, Mike Aaron, to review the whole project and give you the facts and figures. So that'll be the night. Budget's okay, insurance you're okay, and if it's the budget concerning tonight, no problem.
I'll just wait till the 17th.
Okay. Do you still want to speak? Okay. Pat? Do you still want to speak?
I do.
All right, let me open the meeting then. Okay, it's six o'clock. I'm gonna call the Loudon County Commission Workshop to order. Time is 6 o'clock, May 20th, 2024. First up speaking is Pat Hunter.
I have been attending the budget committee meetings, and I did hear that there was going to be a 7% increase with regards to the county employee health insurance. I also heard there was gonna be $206,858, if I understood correctly, but I would like to know the overall premium cost of the policy this year compared to last year. Does anybody know?
Matt's here tonight, he's gonna speak on that. And I look to the right here, Chris Walper's here. He'll speak to that if Matt can't answer the questions.
Okay. In the past, at the workshops, you've been very flexible about allowing the people to speak about other items. And I think that we should be able to speak about other items because prior to me, other people have spoken about things that were not on the agenda. And it's my understanding that, while state law says we're supposed to be able to comment about items on the agenda,
Germane to the agenda.
yes, I spoke with the Office of Open Records Counsel that stated that if we have a policy that allows us to speak on items on or not on the agenda, that we can still do that. But at the very least, we also have to be able to speak about items on the agenda.
Insurance will be on here in just a few minutes.
Well, I'd like to talk about the budget because I think the $115 million school building project that you'll consider on the 29th is not going to be on the budget or the proposed tax. And how is the public going to know about that? June 24th is too late. So I'd like for that to be addressed. Thank you.
June 17th. I'll expect you'll be here. Okay. Monty Fritz, you're up.
Mr. Chairman, Commission, it's good to be with y'all tonight. I have brought handouts, if it would be appropriate, sir, I can bring them up to you. That will help, and I'll be very brief with my initial comments, would be okay?
Come on up, bring them out.
You can come here and sit with us if you want till we got empty chairs.
Steve, want to sit in Adam's seat?
No, sir. Thank you. I'll stand right there if it's okay with y'all.
No
It's good
problem.
to see y'all tonight. Hopefully this will help
Try
some.
to keep a safe distance.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. So,
get back. Thank you.
Thank you. Want to hear that? Thank you.
So again, it's good to be with y'all tonight. What you have in front of you, Mr. Chairman, is just, starts off with a little bit of thank you. It's been an honor to get to work for y'all for the past couple of years. And highlights a couple of things that we have taken on there in what you see in the black print. I'll touch on just one of those and certainly answer any questions that you all may have. I'll touch on the Asian carp, part of what you see in the write-up there. We made a couple moves legislatively to make sure that this gets sufficient attention. It was my opinion that TWRA and the governor's office were not considering this threat to our economic prosperity serious enough. And so we did a couple things. Most notably, I put 2 amendments on the governor's farm bill to make sure that we highlighted the need for the non-federal partnership funding for the installation of these barriers. We didn't get either one of those passed. I didn't expect to, but what we did with that was got enough attention that the chairman of the agricultural committee, which I sit on, dedicated one entire meeting to that. And the Watts Bar Ecology Group folks come out and testified. So I think we have sufficient attention now, and I've got a pseudo commitment, if you can define a pseudo commitment from TWRA, to make sure that we will get funding for the non-federal partnership funding portion of the funding for installation of those barriers. And I can talk more about the timeline of that if y'all have any questions. I'll move quickly down to the legislation developed, carried, and passed by Tennessee House 32. You'll see 12 items there. One thing that you'll notice that is missing, something I think that was significant. I carried the House version of the legislation to recognize Israel on their 75th birthday last year as a new nation state. I think that's, especially in these times that we live, that's a significant thing. I'll touch on just a couple, Mr. Chairman, of the items of those bills, and certainly try to answer any questions you may have about any of those. 1872 is the last one you see on the bottom of the page. That has been sent to the governor's desk for signature. That legislation does 4 basic things. First, if you're an illegal alien in these United States, you commit a violent crime in the state of Tennessee, your sentence can be enhanced up to life with no parole. If you're an illegal alien in these United States, you commit any crime with use of a deadly weapon, whether that's a firearm or whether that's a ball bat in a butcher shop or a butcher knife on a ball field, life in prison, no parole. It also allows the judge or magistrate to consider residency status when granting bond for those criminals. And then fourthly, it addresses something I think we failed to address in the special session that we called. And it's any adult that goes onto a K-12 campus in the state of Tennessee and commits any violent felony crime is subject to that sentence enhancement of life in prison with no parole. You may ask why I did those things. I think deterrence matters. I think it's important for us to send a strong message both to those who are illegally entering our nation and to those who might perpetrate these hideous crimes on our school grounds that Tennessee's not going to tolerate them. On the second page, I'll touch on just a couple of things with y'all's permission. Item number 9 first. Pardon me. We resolved last year in the General Assembly to develop an energy policy for the state of Tennessee. We led that effort from this district. House Bill 2118 restructures the State Energy Policy Advisory Council. It does so to leverage both the nuclear advantage that we have in this area, being close to Oak Ridge, but it also considers the advantage that we have from things like our refinery capacity in Memphis, Tennessee. We structured this what was a 15, according to state code, 15-member council, up to 21 voting members. That's a lot, but I am convinced that we must take a much more active role and hand in how we make our energy decisions in the state of Tennessee. And I'll close my comments on that with this and answer any questions you have again as well. Many times at the federal level, we develop political strategies that result in energy decisions. I think that's backwards. So what we're trying to do, what we're attempting to do with this legislation is to develop energy strategies that equip good political decisions in the state of Tennessee. Two other quick things I'll hit, and please, if I'm going too long, Commissioner, Chairman, just silence me. 2190, House Bill 2190, Article 3, Section 5 of the Tennessee Constitution states that, paraphrase, that the Tennessee General Assembly must declare by law in cases of invasion and rebellion if we're gonna send troops to support those. We did that by law. That's on the governor's desk now. The legislation that I carried there will equip the governor to be able to send up to a brigade-sized force to Texas to repel the invasion. And again, I don't suspect you all have lots of concerns about that. I'll try to address any that you have. But as someone who's traveled to the Texas border, I can assure you that we're suffering in the United States of America from a full-on invasion. And it's my responsibility to make sure that we take every action we can to make it difficult for that invasion to be successful. And lastly, in that list of blue, House Joint Resolution 803, I'm convinced that if all of your constitutional representatives made perfect laws, and none of us will, I certainly won't, and we had perfect budgets, and I certainly pray we won't do that either. If we don't have a turn to repentance in this nation, it's all for naught. I'm convinced that, I don't know how this will be received in this meeting, but I'll just be candid, that in our nation, we're either somewhere between the Lord lifting his hand of blessing from this nation, or his applying his hand of judgment on this nation for the sins that we have openly promoted and accepted in our society. So what this resolution does, and I brought copies of this, again, Mr. Chairman, a few copies of it, if y'all would like to see it. It calls us into a time of prayer for the entire month of July, time of prayer and fasting with a hope for repentance in the state of Tennessee. Our intent is to go to all 95 counties in the state of Tennessee and working with both the political leaders, folks such as yourselves, and the church leaders to look to move this state toward repentance and perhaps God's healing on our land. The resolution, as you'll see, calls out, and I will read some of it if you'd like me to bring a copy. It calls out some of what I would consider those leading indicators that our nation is under some top judgment. And those leading indicators include we are an addicted people, we are a drunken people, we're corrupt, we have corruption, especially in the federal government, but even in state government, we have corruption issues. We have families that are violent, we have people that commit violence against our families here. And I think when you look at all those things, those are leading indicators of God removing his hand of blessing. So I'm absolutely convinced this is the right thing to do. And then the last section, speaking as quickly as somebody from Rockwood can, you'll see several issues that I either supported or opposed. There's many, many others, but I tried to keep this to a couple pages. And I'll certainly answer any questions that you have on any of those. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll be quiet.
Anybody have anything for Monty Fritz?
I appreciate the job that you do. Thank you so much, especially some of this stuff right here. It's very important.
I've got a question that's not
So,
on in any particular subject on the agenda, but I do have a question for him.
He's here.
I know you're not the rep that reps the part of the district that I represent, but how in the world can somebody go to Nashville, get permission from the state to come and put a quarry in the middle of Greenback without getting any local permission, guidelines, approvals, paperwork? How can that happen? Who in Nashville has the authority to do that?
I'll take a shot at answering that and saying this. I think many times those of us that have been elected to state, even at the federal level, forget the people that we work for. And so I'm not sure what the catalyst was for the query that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But I do think that any opportunity we have to push the control back to the local level is an important thing. Many of the things that you see I've addressed on the sheet in front of us, I think have to be addressed at the state level. But I certainly, I'll take it.
If you run into our representative, would you tell him that there's a bunch of people in District 3 that are very concerned and right now, you know, in litigation, suing and being sued, and we didn't believe it when they told it that they didn't have to abide by local zoning policy or to get permission from local government. they went to Nashville and got approval to do a quarry.
T-Deck.
T-Deck. So if you, I would love to find out how, if that's true, then we just need to do away with our zoning and committee and all that and just let them all go to Nashville. But it's really bothered me the whole time that this has happened, that we have all this set up, but they could just do an end run around local authority. So I'm not asking, I'm just, if you see, Lowell, tell him that he has some really stressed out folks in District 3 over the lack of ability to get anything done. And like I said, the guy that's doing it has just thumbed his nose at every opportunity. And there's nothing I could be, driving into Greenback and have a huge open pit quarry to greet people coming in there. And nobody, we don't want it. We're in litigation now to stop it, but I'd just like to know how they got permission to begin with. So if you tell Lowell that he can come by and see me, call me anytime, and I don't want to put you in between, but it seems like maybe the best way to get him to respond. But to say we're a little bit upset would be an understatement. So we'd appreciate some help and some clarification. Thank you for coming. I agree with what you've put down here. If you were representing me, I'd vote for you.
Hey, and I hope you'll put me in the middle of things. That's what these folks hired me to do. And I'll see Lowell, Wednesday morning. I'll make sure he gets that message. And I'll be sitting down, yes, sir. And, I'll be sitting down with T-Deck tomorrow. I'll be in Nashville early tomorrow morning, to work on a couple things, and I'll make sure that I bring this topic up. And,
That would be,
maybe after meeting, we can discuss just a little bit.
they can call me, they can call the mayor.
This is twice they've moved to Greenback, if you count the Hyde Farms issue.
Yeah, they
They
just,
just kinda snubbed their nose.
well, I've got an issue with T-Deck. Did we have a changing of the guard at T-Deck? Is there new people operating that down there?
Something's wrong.
Okay. I'll not keep you here on. I have other issues, but you can send Lowell and let him take it.
Will do, yes, sir.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes, I do. I appreciate all the things you've done. They're all good stuff, from illegals to Israel to fish. But we had three big ones here in Loudon County.
Yes.
Some in 32nd, some in 21st.
Yeah.
We got nothing done on annexation, right? HB 028 just down the wind.
Yep.
Got nothing done about the EDA,
Yeah.
mandatory pay. And we got nothing done for Hotchkiss Valley and the Chinese investors.
I think we did get some things
Doesn't
done.
apply.
I think we have moved the state in the right direction. I'll dissent on the last part. What the commissioner was referring to, we had two pieces of legislation that I was carrying and intend to carry next year, that I didn't have. I started them late, no excuse, but I started them late, and I did not get those in the condition where that I thought that I was not going to have unexpected, unintended consequences. And one of those was to restructure the EDA law in the state so that the proportionality, right now, proportionality of payment for the EDA is in law, but proportionality of representation is not. And so you get into this taxation without representation thing that I want to try to fix. And certainly, not just some of the local folks that you all may know, lots of push from the lobby against those. And so what I have learned in that is oftentimes our lobbyists in Nashville will figure out a way to put a poison pill in something that creates that unintended consequence. And that's what I was most concerned about that. The other one was actually a piece of legislation that started in Roane County that had some applicability, I thought, throughout the state, not just in Loudon County. But currently, state law allows utilities to be able to assign a cost or a fee to someone who does not connect to a sewer system just because it runs past the house. Maybe that's okay if everybody's got a vote and a say in it. I had it at least one place in Roane County where we had a city doing that and the county had no vote or say in it. And so that left a little old 75-year-old man that lives in Roane County in a position where he was being forced to pay a few dollars a month, and he didn't have anybody represent him. And that's an American thing. And so, as you might well imagine, I faced much pushback from some lobby groups on that. We have sat down with the folks that have the utility groups, and I think we've got something we're gonna work for next year that I suspect I can get passed. I don't have a crystal ball on my table in Nashville. I've got a piece of coal, and sometimes it's a little murky to tell whether we're gonna get something passed or not, but I do plan to take those two back up.
I had the same problem. The city of Friendsville got permission from Task Utility to run a sewer line from Friendsville and hook onto the utility line. And there were very few customers in Loudon County, but there were some. When they started out, they were told that they had no choice. They had to pay the full, not just the maintenance fee, but they had to pay the full hookup. And then after we had a couple of face-to-face meetings with the folks from Friendsville, found out that they still had to pay the $20-something a month maintenance fee, whether they hooked up to it or not. But I felt the same way you did. I started saying, I've never been in America where people were forced to do something and had no say in it. And that's what these people were looking at, is they didn't have a say. Thank you.
And I fully intend to try to fix that. I do. And I apologize, man, I didn't get, Commissioner, that I didn't get that done this year. But
Well,
we got into it.
let me suggest,
I like it.
don't reinvent the wheel, don't start from scratch, get the language from HB 0028, get that passed. That solves all of our problems.
Okay.
I don't know why, well, I do know why, we all know why. The lobbyists run Nashville.
Yes,
But
sir.
we've got to get this done. Sumner County wants it now, every county's needing this, we're all being crushed.
I'm starting with the, of course, TCSA conferences this week, so I won't get the ACM behind it again this week. We just, we're hoping you just support that.
I think it's important, and again, one of the, no excuse, my fault, my failure. But it's easy to underestimate the lobbyist. While the politician has 15 bills that he or she's running, you have a little army of lobbyists, many lobbyists, that good people, and many folks that I agree with them on what they're lobbying for. But there's a client, I think I can say this, I'm gonna say it, it's on the record, so it will offend somebody, that's okay. But some of the politicians are like frightened little deer. And when somebody comes in their office and says, oh, this might be a problem, their tail goes up, their ears wiggle, and they run off into the forest.
We're familiar with that local, we understand that.
There's a lot of that in Nashville, so I can't fix all that, but I do promise you I'll try to run that again next year. And we took a second shot to your third point there, Commissioner. We took a third shot on the whole, foreigners buying land. Fortunately, and I'm not blowing smoke at y'all, but fortunately, you've got a strong county commission that will stand up, maybe not be rolled over by this big company. But that's not gonna be the case in other parts of the state. We've gotta fix that. We've got to fix it so that Tennessee soil is not owned by some Mr. I hate America from China or Iran or North Korea or Cuba or Russia or
Exactly.
We've gotta fix that. And there's an appetite for that. There's an appetite, some of the things you see on the back page there, many things are politically driven and what gets people reelected, unfortunately. But there is an appetite to take that on. So I know that's going to continue to be a topic.
Anything else? Thank you for coming, we appreciate what you do.
Yes, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Henry, for letting me have a few questions.
Could I, before I sit down, one other quick thing, I'm in the VFW post down here, I've been there for 3 years now, and the Poppy Drive, don't forget about that, this coming weekend.
What?
The Red Poppy Drive,
Oh.
fundraiser for the VFW. Thank you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, you're up.
This is Matt Fleischman, our purchasing procurement officer, is that correct?
And chairman of the Salary and Benefits Committee.
Chairman of the
Yes.
salary and benefit, he is going up the ladder fast. He may be the next mayor. Oh,
All right, well, thanks for having me. The Salary and Benefits Committee met and voted to recommend the insurance that was presented to us, and it includes a 7% increase in health insurance, 2.9% in vision increase, and a flat change in dental, so no change in dental. And Mr. Wampler may be able to tell you better how much that's going, the changes from last year to this year.
Can I do it from right here?
Just where you want to.
Okay.
You can get up on that table if you want to.
So,
There's people watching that might not be able to see him.
Oh, they can see. He makes a big picture.
I sat through that meeting. Personally, with the way things are going in the economy, I think he did a hell of a job keeping it where it is.
Thank you. With that being said, we have 245 employees on this group. We have 543 total, including the dependents on the group. We have done a great job of keeping it low for the last 5 or 6 years, from a -7% increase to 2s and 3s along the way. This year was just hit tremendously hard with a big wave of a lot of claims. They originally came out with a 46% increase, which I said, that's not gonna happen. We went to a 25, that's not gonna happen. We went out for bids for the other carriers. Cigna came back at a 19, which was still cheaper than what the other carriers bid for us. And then, there's a formula they use to, come up with a medical loss ratio, which was way high, way over 100%. So I used the same formula they used and was able to negotiate a 7% increase, based on a few things. First of all, they had some high adjustments on some claims, and then our census adjusted a little bit with some misfortunes of some of your employees. And so we were able to adjust that down and we come up with a 7%. What does that relate to Pat's question? We paid, and this is not exact, but we paid around 3.4 million last year, and this year's about 3.7, so it's about a $260,000 total increase at a 7% increase. If you imagine every point is $34,000. You know, 1%, because we paid $3.4 million for benefits. So, I hope that answers the question. Is there any other questions for me?
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
That'll be on June 3rd's commission meeting for a vote.
Item B is a postage machine for the health department, and that's $129.68 for a total of 60 months. And item C is a postage machine for the clerk and master, and it's $179.04 per month for 60 months.
What's the
And
difference?
these are replacing
What's the difference?
That's what I was trying to.
one machine doesn't have the
Yeah, one of
automatic
them-
feeder, and the other one does. It's got a couple of different accessories that are a little different. And these replace the machines that they currently have that are coming off, the lease has expired, so these will replace those.
They can be brand new.
Yeah, these are brand new, and they're maintenance, we don't have to pay for service fees or anything like that. Well, it's all included, we do pay for it, but it's included. So,
Any questions for Matt on those
I
two
got a
machines?
question on the vision. You said it was a 2% increase? 2.9.
I think it's 2.9 is what we discussed.
I thought he said decrease.
Increase, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this paper has the current 24, 25, but it's the same across the board.
I was looking at that before, I got here. and I just noticed that, but I think it was,
That's the paper.
Yeah.
The meeting.
It's not the one I sent you.
It doesn't have the current.
yeah, it doesn't have the current rate on it, it's,
Okay.
But when you look at it, it's minimal. I mean, it's, the rate's so small, it's like 1,900, what is it, 900 something bucks, Aaron?
Yeah, I think it was
It's
like
like
$960.
$960.
everybody for the whole,
Yeah, over the whole thing. I saw that too in the one I printed out, but I sent her the original copies, so she would have that.
This is so small, you can't even read it.
I know, it's tough, isn't it?
Anything else from Matt?
That's all I have.
They'll be on the June 3rd commission meeting.
alright, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Shaver.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, you all heard, we've talked for a long time, been discussing the Davis Lane situation. Billy Pickle was able to get up there a couple weeks ago and put some gravel in some of the deepest holes, so at least they don't bottom out when they go through it. So, the last conversation I had with Bob has said to myself and Billy Pickle, he sees no reason why we can't proceed on with repairs. That would indicate that the trucks have stopped. He's been discussing, talking to, and supposed to be sending something to the trucking company and the property owner, and the estimate to repair Davis Lane is $677,000. And I bet I'm the only one here that knows that. Billy's not here, and I'm sure that was the right number. So the question is, how do we fix it? It has to be fixed. Billy says he doesn't have the money in his fund balance to do it. He does, but he doesn't want to spend the money in his fund balance. We're hoping not to have litigation. I asked Bob, I said, could you put something in a letter? And he said, I'd rather not put nothing in a letter right now. So I understand that, litigation. So in order to get it fixed timely, we would have to front the money on the front end. And then the hope, expectations that we get it back through the property owner / the trucking company. Bob seems to be very confident we have. There's apparently a Supreme Court ruling and settlement that makes this real. If you had knowledge that what you were doing was going to destroy the road, then you're responsible. So, what we discussed in Budget Committee tonight, the easiest place to do this from is from our regular fund balance. And that way Billy can get it going ASAP. So there.
And we'll fill it when it gets paid in settlement.
Sure, absolutely.
Yep.
You said you would just shift it over to capital?
Sub-fund and capital.
Yeah, make a sub-fund of its own in capital.
So you're thinking the people that tore the road up may pay for it at some
Bob
point?
says they will pay
They
for it.
will pay for it.
They haven't volunteered to. It's my understanding he is in the process, if he hasn't already sent them a letter saying, here's the bill, here's how much you owe us. We'd really like to sell this out of court, but we're prepared to do what we have to do to fix this road. And what we discussed in budget, I don't know what else to do. Do I want to spend this kind of money even on the front end? I absolutely don't. But you got a road up here people can't drive. I mean, it's beyond. I've never seen anything like it, so I don't know what else to do except get the road fixed. Billy said, we'll have a vote on this on June the 3rd, and Billy said the day after June the 3rd, he can sign the contract with the company and start fixing it. I don't know what else to do. I told Gary I wish it was in his district, I'd feel better about it, but this one's not.
But you said the trucks have stopped,
Yes, according to
so
Bob.
they won't tear it back up again.
According to Bob, yeah. 120 a day, 120 trucks a day.
This road's impassable, and it's not fair to the residents on this road to have this kind of road.
Guarantee it's the worst road in Loudon County.
It's road.
Oh, by far. One family went to Loudon County Rental and rented a hammerjack to break the broken asphalt and stuff out in front of their mailbox because the mailman couldn't get to their mailbox anymore and wouldn't deliver their mail. So I wish I'd have known Billy would have gone up and fixed that, but they didn't contact me or him or anybody else. But it's that kind of bad. It's something else. But anyhow, it'll be up to your pleasure. I hope everybody will support it. That's up to you all, but.
So where does the trucks go now?
They stop in a quarter of a mile inside Loudon County now at a different site. They're still coming to Loudon County, but just barely up on, if you're on Watt Road, you go out past Vulcan Quarry, you turn left on Buttermilk Road, coming into Loudon County. You drive about a half mile in Knox County, maybe a little less, then you hit the Loudon County line, then it's a quarter mile inside Loudon County on Hollingsworth, Joe Hollingsworth property. And This is a problem too. Jim's already working on this one, but this is on Buttermilk, which is a better road. All these trucks have been running Buttermilk the entire time. But when they come up to this dump site, they have to stop on Buttermilk and then back in to where they're dumping it down the hill down here. And then when they come out, they've got to make this huge turn back out. So Jim's looking to see if they've got their SWIFT permits for that and all that, but they're dumping it all right, still in Loudon County. Apparently Knox County doesn't allow people to dump like that on them. But they're not on Davis Lane, that's a plus.
They're filling that up so they can come in and build houses out there.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Anything else for Commissioner Shaver?
I'm gonna say at this point, I'm not sure, we kinda got jump started on the agenda, and I was supposed to say that Adam is gonna be asking to spend some of his ARPA money on a potential small parcel of property in the 6th district sometime. I may let him explain that when he gets ready to do that, so I've mentioned it.
Okay.
And by the way, Chase is laying somewhere on a beach, I think. I don't know if it's a nude beach or a regular beach, but he wanted me to shout out to him, so there you go, Chase.
All right,
He said it, not me.
okay. Well, we appreciate your comments, Mr. Shaver. Aaron?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the Budget Committee, these are the things that were discussed. The second reading for the ARPA contribution from the seventh district for TVARC, which is Teleco Voters Assistance Response Team. An approval for a TDOT grant for Riley Drive. Part of the match will be paid out of the highway fund and part of the match will be paid out of the county general fund, to the tune of $30,000. The other large thing that happened was the $677,000 appropriation for, Davis Lane to pay for the repair on that lane, that road. Aside from that, in the amendments, none of them adjusted the fund balance, so they're not major changes.
And they were highway and schools.
Highway and schools, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? I'll consider it adjourned.
Thank you, Henry.
I haven't one like that in a long time. Oh, no, we've had. Yep.
There I am over there, and I don't drop back.
Sure.
When Billy wouldn't commit on what I didn't have.
Good. I'd like to talk more. I'd like to find out.
I hope this was helpful.
I thought myself, I appreciate it. I said, so if he didn't do this, how would you feel? Oh, Band-Aid. I said, well,